Thank you. I'm Chris Weyant, and I am the second cartoonist to be a Nieman Fellow. And I just take a moment to acknowledge the very first, my predecessor. It's the great Pulitzer Prize winning Doug Marlette. Yeah. Now, Doug's no longer with us, unfortunately, but I feel like he's very much with us here tonight to celebrate this anniversary. And so, all right, Doug, here we go. So when people find out that I'm a cartoonist these days, the very first thing that they ask me is, or say to me is, you know, you must be having so much fun drawing during the Trump years, right? And, you know, of course you have to say, no. No one's having any fun doing anything during the Trump years, including Trump. First executive order. So being a political cartoonist is essentially a lot like being a court jester in the traditional sense. We bring truth to the king. And so when you bring truth to the king, you have to bring your pointed pen, and a little bit of humor can go a long way so that you can actually survive the day. The thing is, our politicians and our political leaders, they want to control their image, right? They want to know what they look like, and they don't like us doing it for them. So we continue to draw as political cartoonists, and we chip away through the spin and all the hyperbole and all the press conferences until eventually an image starts to emerge. And if we do our job really well and continue to draw, we're able to pull back the curtain and show them for who they truly are. Oh, there I am. It looks so big. Okay. So, cartooning in the Trump era has been very different than anything I've ever experienced. When I first started, and we're going to talk about just a couple of shifts and changes in cartoons, and one of the biggest ones was I had to change my content. When you normally an administration comes in, you do the usual. We're going to talk about new members, how they're staffing, some new policies. But in this administration, I had to quickly recognize the fact that this White House is going to be very different from other White Houses. Yes, and he's going to be, the world as we know it is going to be upside down. And in this White House, nothing made sense. Nothing seems to be the way we want it to work. Oh, sure. So I'll read the captions in case. It says, when exactly do they switch from Hail to the Chief to Ride of the Valkyries? As I switched my content, I needed to start to think very seriously about there's so much noise coming from this administration between the tweets and the Obama erasing executive orders and the attacks on the press and the attacks on individual citizens or on attacks on kneeling NFL players or the wall. There's just so much noise. There's so much coming out of this. It's very hard to find a focus. And so I found with my cartoons, I shifted and started looking broader and to find something that, could I find a through line to this administration? Is there some sort of central policy or something that unifies all of this chaos? Which I think I did. As this administration goes on, I also had to shift my content to something I've never done in all my years of cartooning, which is to start to look at the fact that I had to examine how this White House was having an effect on this nation. Because America is not the same place as it once was. We're a very different people now. Yeah. And my cartooning started to look at the fact that I had to examine us as a whole, the fact that us within our country, within our houses and our homes, within our families, that we look across the table now at our family members, and they don't look recognizable. They're almost like different species, that we can't agree on the same fact or even agree on what we want our government to do. I can read this for you. It says, who are you kidding? You're all about small government until you get stuck in a tree. So as my content shifted, there was another change that I noticed. Now, this is as prestigious an audience as we can get tonight, so I don't want to seem like I'm bragging, but As a cartoonist, I get a lot of fan mail. And you see where this is going? Okay, so, and so anyway, on a typical year, my fan mail looks something like this. And for a cartoonist, this is considered fan mail because he said I'm first class. Usually I go coach. Okay, sorry. So, but there was a shift. There was something that happened that I haven't experienced before, which is people started to connect with me either through social media or through a website or through my newspaper, and they would start telling me that I couldn't have gotten through this period if it hadn't been for your cartoons, that I've been feeling incredibly isolated and I needed to laugh. Your cartoons got me through a family holiday, and this news cycle has been getting me so down and so depressed that thank you for just getting me through this. And this is not just my experience, this is actually all my colleagues I've spoken to have had the same exact experience. It's been really wonderfully touching. And so the thing is with political cartoons and humor, humor is power. What we laugh at, we no longer fear. And what I've never seen with political cartoons in my career that has happened, which is that political cartoons are now actually, we are a humorous dissent. We are sort of the beacon in the newspaper, and we're shared now all over thanks to social media. And that for our audience, when the ground seems like it's sometimes slipping out from under us, and the pillars of our democracy are being pulled down, having this humorous dissent, something big, this big and broad and strong, and that many people are liking and sharing together, political cartoons were able to create community, something I've never seen before. So that even when we're not connected through geography, we are through ideology. And that was a very special development. The other thing is, as this went on and this kind of engagement and this empowerment happened, something else happened in my 25 years, and that was people started asking if they could use my cartoons, and the same with my colleagues, to use them to protest. It was honestly thrilling to watch my cartoons go from the page to the street. That people were choosing this part of journalism to represent their voice, to give them voice, to physically give them something to hold as they took an active part in their democracy. It was absolutely humbling and exciting, because these days with political cartoons, it has been a challenge. Like rest of journalism, political cartoonists have had a tough time of it. And when I first started cartooning about 25 years ago, there were 350 staff positions, and now we're down to about 30. However, political cartoons have never been more positive and successful in that because they're tailor-made for social media. And younger people, of course, on social media share them all the time. So when newspapers and news organizations want to bring younger voices in and younger readers, political cartoons is the way to do it. And when I was at Nieman, I created a study to look at the kind of reader engagement that political cartoons can encourage, and of course they do. If you go through a political cartoon on through your news site or through a newspaper, you're going to actually keep your readers longer, and they're going to read more articles. So it's an excellent tool for increasing engagement. At The New Yorker, we also have, which is good news, we have a whole new generation of young cartoonists because we have a daily cartoon that we started. And we have a whole new generation of young cartoonists who are now coming into political cartooning. So there are more freelancers than ever before. And it's encouraging to watch them come in and want to take part of this humorous dissent. So I don't know, like everybody in this audience, what the future of journalism is going to be, but I believe there will be a future, and I think it will be a very strong one. And I really hope and believe that political cartoons, this humorous American art form, this humorous dissent, needs to be a part of it. Because whatever our future looks like, I promise you this, there's going to be plenty to laugh at. Thank you.